Cardinals and the Buffalo Bills. If those were legitimately the two teams that he was deciding between, I think he made the right choice. I've never been that high in the Buffalo Bills. I thought that the Indianapolis Colts should have beat them last year in the playoffs. And to be honest, I thought that the Ravens had a better roster from top to bottom last year than the Buffalo Bills. But there's no denying it. Listen, I have a ton of respect for Josh Allen, was top 5 in passing yards, over 4,500 passing yards. Stephon Diggs led the NBA in receiving yards last year with 1,535. So they're a good team. And there's no question that J.J. Watt would have contributed a great deal to Buffalo. Arizona's warmer, though. It's just nicer to live in. So I get why between those two choices, he opted to go with Arizona. But let me say this first. I love J.J. Watt. I tweeted this out a couple days ago. He was the commencement speaker at my graduation at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. He was absolutely fantastic. He's a brilliant, witty, clever, charismatic individual. And what I respected about him, especially on that day, was that he was approached by multiple professional writers wanting to offer their services to help provide input on what he should say. And he told them, no, back off. These graduating students, these graduates want to hear J.J. Watt. They don't want to hear someone else. So I respect the competitor and how prideful he is. And he's hilarious. And I love everything about J.J. Watt. And I have no problems, no qualms whatsoever with him wanting that money. I have no issues. Listen, a team's going to throw you in the later stages of your career, 2 years, $31 million. Apparently, the Browns and the Colts were willing to offer more. Regardless, I'm glad that he was able to cash in and earn one more big payday. I genuinely am happy and thrilled for J.J. Watt. And the Arizona Cardinals defense is going to be absolutely ferocious next year. Chandler Jones, of course, Budda Baker, Patrick Peterson, Hassan Reddick. Now you throw J.J. Watt. I'm not denying that at all. But if your number one priority is to win a Super Bowl, then J.J. Watt is making a grave, grave mistake. I have to say it. He's making a huge mistake. And I am really big on actions. Actions speak louder than words. Don't tell me about it. Be about it. J.J. Watt said upon his release from Houston that part of the reason why he wanted to be released from the Houston Texans was to pursue a Super Bowl. Again, I just listed out how great their defense is. But there were plenty of other options that were better and more ideal scenarios and situations to actually win in if you're J.J. Watt. The NFC West, let alone the NFC, is the hardest division in football. So you're joining a division with the Rams, the 49ers, a healthy 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. So let's break it down position by position, situation by situation. Let's look at the defense first, since that's the strength of the Arizona Cardinals. Again, J.J. Watt, Chandler Jones, Hassan Reddick, Patrick Peterson, Budda Baker. This team is stacked. Vance Joseph, who was the defensive backs coach in Houston when J.J. Watt won his Defensive Player of the Year, is the defensive coordinator in Arizona. So I understand that tie, that nexus. But are we sure that this Cardinals defense is better than the Rams defense? Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, Jalen Ramsey, Leonard Floyd. The 49ers are going to be healthy. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner is back, along with Bosa, Eric Armstead, Richard Sherman. Okay, I'll give them that they're better than the Seattle Seahawks defense. That's a given. So already you're looking at potentially two better defenses than the Cardinals in their own division. Now, J.J. Watt also said it wasn't just the team that he thought would give him a good chance to win a Super Bowl, but also the quarterback. The quarterback and the quality of the quarterback was of the utmost importance to him. Now, we all know the maxim in football is you can't win a Super Bowl without a good quarterback. You need a Super Bowl caliber quarterback. We know that. And Tom Brady proved that last year. The Tampa Bay Bucks would not have won the Super Bowl if it wasn't for Tom Brady and his arrival. I don't want to hear that any other quarterback would have been able to come in there and achieve and attain the same type of success. We saw what Jameis Winston was able to accomplish, and this team was a mediocre 8-8 ball club with Jameis Winston, and they were a Super Bowl champion the next year with Tom Brady. So then the question becomes, well, how much do you believe in Kyler Murray? Now, to J.J. Watt's credit, he said that he texted Kyler Murray and said, I came here because I believe in you. So clearly J.J. Watt, who is a shrewd operator, believes in Kyler Murray. I have no issue with him believing in Kyler Murray. But do I believe in Kyler Murray? I don't think Kyler Murray is a top 6 quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't know if he's a top 2 quarterback in his own division. Russell Wilson, I think, is a better quarterback than Kyler Murray, although Kyler Murray is showing great promise, and he's a young, budding star in the NFL. He's showing great promise. I don't necessarily know if Kyler Murray is better than Matthew Stafford, although it's close because statistically, Matthew Stafford had more passing yards, had the same number of touchdowns, 26, but threw fewer interceptions, just 10 interceptions. Kyler Murray threw 12 interceptions last year. And according to Pro Football Focus, the offensive line for the Arizona Cardinals rated higher than the offensive line for the Detroit Lions. So I don't necessarily know if he is better than Matthew Stafford. And if he is, maybe it's by a hair. So you're talking about maybe the second or third best quarterback in the division, because I do think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. But I think what I was hoping to see from J.J. Watt is picking a team that he legitimately could have won a Super Bowl with. Again, and then you just look at the entire NFC, the quarterbacks in the NFC. We got Tom Brady. I would take Tom Brady over Kyler Murray. I'd take Aaron Rodgers over Kyler Murray. Obviously, Russell Wilson, potentially Matthew Stafford. What if Deshaun Watson ends up signing with the Chicago Bears? That would be at least 4 or 5 quarterbacks that I would take over Kyler Murray. Then you look at the AFC, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. There are a number of guys that I would take over Kyler Murray. And then let's look at the totality of the teams. How do the Cardinals stack up now with J.J. Watt compared to the best from both the NFC and the AFC? Well, I would take the Buccaneers. I would take the Packers. I would take the Rams over the Cardinals. Maybe the Cardinals are 4th in the NFC, potentially. But then you've got the Chiefs, you've got the Ravens, you've got the Bills. That's at least 6 or 7 other teams that I value more and view in the upper echelon of the NFL than Kyler Murray. I just do. So, not to mention, the Cardinals probably have the worst coach in their division in Cliff Kingsbury. And it's not necessarily a knock on him. It's just when you've got Sean McVay, when you've got all of these Kyle Shanahans of the world, Pete Carroll, when you've got a lot of these good coaches and you're relying on Cliff Kingsbury to hopefully lead this squad, I don't know if I'm fully sold yet on Cliff Kingsbury. So, for all we know, Watt could totally be striking gold in an unmined plot of land right now. We saw that the Buccaneers were a sleeping giant, and when Tom Brady decided to join them, he hit the jackpot because this was a team that had already featured a lot of young, promising talent, and they had superstar potential written all over them with their wide receivers and their defense. This was an emerging team, and Tom Brady just kind of opened up the door for them to showcase their talents to the entire world. Maybe the Arizona Cardinals could be that next team. Again, they've got a potent offense. They've got a great defense now. It's certainly possible. And again, I just think that J.J. Watt, as far as legitimately winning a Super Bowl, if that was the number one priority, I just don't think that Arizona necessarily is the best place for that. Now, with that being said, I respect the hell out of the move. He's a competitor. He's the ultimate competitor. He's an extremely prideful individual. And I do believe that part of what played a factor is he wanted to feel like a big contributor to a team. And listen, Arizona is a lovely place to play. Warm, you can golf all the time. So the quality of life will be much higher. And maybe that was more important. And that is totally fine. I have no issues with that whatsoever, or with him wanting to win in a tougher division and have to really earn it and grind his way up. That is totally understandable. But to me, I just think that, listen, I hope he proves me wrong. I just think he had some better options on the table. Not to mention, to add insult to injury, DeAndre Hopkins, his former teammate, recruited him. And I just can't imagine what Deshaun Watson is thinking right now, seeing DeAndre Hopkins, J.J. Watt on the same team again, which is hard to believe that those two players have reunited, and here Deshaun Watson is still on the sidelines in Houston. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, happy for J.J. Watt that he got his money, that he deserves it. He's a fantastic player. He's a great individual person. I love J.J. Watt. But if you're telling me that winning a Super Bowl was the number one priority in this decision, I do think he was making a grave mistake.